I'm now joined on the Sports Mix by the head coach of Musselman football, Brian Thomas. Coach Thomas, first off, congrats on the big win. Win number one. It's an upset win, 21-14 against Wheeling Park on the island. I'm going to just flat out say, I wrote you off. I'm sorry. Your team wasn't sure how it was going to go. Wheeling Park 2-0 on the year. You guys started off 0-2. Your team, though, pulls it off. Your thoughts on the game?
I mean, keep writing us off. Sometimes that's the best role to play, is the role where you can just kind of sneak up on people. I don't know. I mean, I told you guys last week, you asked me, I think one of the last questions you asked me, you said, what was my main goal? And I told you I just wanted to keep getting better. And I really feel like we've done that. You know, we're still a young team. We're still inexperienced in a lot of ways. And, you know, we've gotten better throughout every single week. We got better from week 1 to week 2, and then we definitely got better this past week as well. So that's what you look for out of your team. You look for some growth, and we're getting that right now.
I know you know already that for us, we don't really get to see your guys' game and stats and whatnot. So for you, what do you feel like were the difference makers in the game throughout that resulted in your team getting the win?
I mean, we were really able to stay ahead of the chains. You know, most of our drives, you're getting 5+ yards on first down, and then that puts you in a second and short situation. You know, which lets you kind of be creative a little bit. There were a couple times that we, opened it up and threw it on second down. There were a couple times we just pounded it out. But then we were in a lot of 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 situations. We were in a lot of 4th and 1, 4th and 2 situations, which we were able to convert those down. So it's things that we work on in practice that we were then able to apply in the game. You know, every week we have a short yardage situation period in practice. We do a lot of situational stuff during practice on both sides of the ball. And we do that every year. I think this year we're probably doing a little bit extra just because we're trying to teach the kids how to play the game of football. Being young, that's something you have to learn. You don't just snap it. You don't just snap it every down. There's a difference between, what are you trying to do on 3rd and 10 compared to 3rd and 1. So, I really think, to answer your question, we were staying ahead of the chains. We were able to move the ball. At the same point, we got them in some long situations where they had some 3rd and longs that we were able to, kind of determine, hey, they're probably going to do, one of 2 different things here. So, I think that was big. We really controlled. I don't look at time of possession, but time of possession in this game for anybody that watches the game would just be insane. We controlled the clock and we controlled the ball.
What was the emotion like for your team getting that win?
I mean, it was extremely high. You're coming off a season where we have a lot of kids on our team back from last year. We were able to retain, almost everybody that was on our roster last year. I don't know an exact number off the top of my head is back this year. So. You're coming off a 1-win season last year. To be able to get a win this year early in the season is good. You're able to equal a win total from last year. At the same time, last year we played those guys in the playoffs at their place, and they beat us by, I don't even know what the score was. They beat us by multiple touchdowns, and to be able to see that improvement just from one year to the other. From last year's playoff game to this, the 3rd week of the season, just you can see the growth, I think, in the program and a lot of our players. So, the emotions are high just because, you work hard and every game has a winner and has a loser. And, you just because you work hard doesn't mean you win. We worked hard all 3 weeks and, are sitting at 1 and 2, but to be able to see, the rewards from the hard work and to be able to see the results, I think was very pleasing to the coaches and the players.
How do you continue to build and have your team grow?
I mean, we practice really hard, and we get after it when we practice, and we we try to make our practices difficult. I'll tell you, my coaching staff does a great job, and it's a lot of that win is it's on the kids, and a lot of that's on the assistant coaches too. They do such a great job from D line to linebackers to secondary to O line to running backs. I mean, just all of our position groups work really, really hard. So I think you continue to grow in a lot of those areas. What are you doing? What are you doing every day in your position groups? What are you doing individually to kind of push yourself to get better? We do a lot of good stuff with our team. So, are our players going to come out and are they going to practice hard against each other this week to try to push each other to get better? So, we're super excited about the win, but at the same time, we've assured ourselves that we're not going to go 0-10. That's about the only thing we've guaranteed ourselves. So if we think we've won the Super Bowl or something like that, and we come out this week and don't have a desire to continue to get better, then this thing could go south really quick because we have a lot of really good teams still on our schedule. There's no breaks.
Before we get to this week's matchup, I want to kind of circle back to a comment you made at the beginning, and I know it was subtly, but you said continue writing us off. How much does that, I guess, outside noise and negativity of people, whether it's the media, including myself or others around the state, looking at your guys' schedule, looking at your guys' matchups, writing you off, expecting it to be a year similar to last year, how much does that motivate your team this year to continue to get better and prove the doubters wrong?
Well, I think we live in a world where outside noise is something that exists. We live in a world where we're so social media driven as a society. Man, you even look at some of the events that are going on in the current world right now. It's just everything's driven by people's opinions and what they think. And I think it's, me personally, I don't get wrapped up in any of that because, I know what matters the most in my life. And I don't see that stuff, but kids see that stuff, and kids hear noise, and kids go to school, and kids get on social media. So I think that exists not just for our team, I think, but for every team. We talk a lot to the kids about trying to tune that stuff out and just trying to focus on, hey, what's happening here, what's going on inside these buildings, what are we working towards? And I'll be honest with you, that was not letting you in on too much what we talked to the team about last week, but that was one of our messages last week. Was we said, hey, it doesn't matter who thinks we're going to win this game and who thinks we're going to lose this game. It's just got to be the people inside this building that believe that. And the kids were very confident last week, and my coaching staff was too. So I don't know. I don't really. Well, I'm not a bulletin board material type of guy. I don't print stuff out and put stuff in the locker room. I don't talk about that stuff. Really, nobody really here does. But at the same time, we do try to just don't listen to what anybody else is telling you. Don't listen to if anybody tells you you're supposed to win a game or lose a game. You just got to go out and work hard every day and let the pieces fall in place.
All righty, Coach Thomas, any final thoughts on last week's game? And then we'll get to this week's game if you don't have any.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, this week you guys have Spring Mills. Your initial thoughts on them?
Yeah, they're good, man. I mean, you're talking about a team that they were one touchdown away from being a state champion last year. So, they're a good program. I got a lot of respect for Coach Law and what he's done since taking over there, man. He's done a really good job, and he's a good guy and works really hard, and you can see it in the way they play. Over the past couple of years that he's been there, they play hard, they're aggressive, they get after it, they're disciplined, they don't make a lot of mistakes. So yeah, you're talking about one of the premier programs in the entire state with like I said, last year a score away from winning it all, and they got a lot of kids back from that team. So yeah, they're a really good program. We got our hands full on Friday.
Looking at the matchup, what stands out, I guess, when it comes to specific position groups and how your team goes up against them?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really want to think about it too much because it gives you a headache just because, you put on the film and it's stressful just how solid they are at every position. Their D line is very aggressive and they get after it. They'll play 3, 4, 5 guys down there sometimes, and every guy they put down there is a good player. Linebacker wise, they just run to the football and they'll hit you. They'll stick their nose in there and pop you. Secondary wise, they have a lot of speed. Their offensive line's big, has a lot of size. Got a really big quarterback that can really sit back there and sling it. They have a couple good running backs that you give them any space and any daylight, they can break it. And then at receiver, they got a lot of speed there too. So they really don't have a lot of weaknesses with anything that they're doing. So, when you play a team like that, every position's got to be ready to go because, if not, they have guys all over the field that can make plays.
What is the focus going to be for your team this week in practice, gearing up for that game Friday?
I mean, I think the same thing that we've focused on the past several weeks with our team is you got to play smart. Like we've been trying to work on our football IQ as a program with our kids, is just understanding, what you're going to see, what other teams are going to do, what are we thinking in this situation? Why would we do this? How do we want to attack them, in this part of the field, on this down? So how are they going to attack you at that part of the field on that down? So, you look at some of that stuff, and I think that's probably our biggest focus this week is we just want to continue to be a smart football team. We don't want to commit penalties and shoot ourselves in the foot. The one touchdown drive that we didn't score on Wheeling Park the other night, we come out on first down and we have back-to-back penalties. So all of a sudden it's 1st and 20. And that's the only drive that we didn't score on. So, you can't put yourself in a self-inflicted hole. You're going to get a penalty. You're going to make a mistake. But at the same time, you can't let those snowball and be, one after the other. So, we got to be smart with the football, and we got to be smart in the decisions that we make.
What's it going to take for your team in a little more detail to get that win, other than what you just kind of outlined?
Yeah. I mean, we have to tackle well. Football's not that hard of a sport. As hard as everyone tries to make it sometime, and in every game, you got to block and you got to tackle. So, can we block them? Can they block us? Can we tackle them in open space, or will we miss a tackle and what should be a 15-yard gain turns into an 80-yard touchdown? So, you just have to, we have to put ourselves in a good position where. We're not making the mental errors and we're not making the technical errors. So that's something that we've worked on with our team, and that's something that we're going to continue to work on this week and also in the future.
All right, final thoughts, and then we'll get to the fun question.
I don't think so, man. I think that's about it. That's all I got.
All right, fun question. I don't think we've asked this before. When dining out here in the Panhandle, where do you like to go? And what do you like to get, and why?
Oh man, we're not a big like sit down, eat out family. We don't go sit down too much. We'll order takeout and get stuff. So
that's fine as well. What's your, I guess, go-to place if you had to list it? What's your number one takeout place?
Oh, geez. I mean, my family's a Chick-fil-A family. My wife and 2 boys both love Chick-fil-A. We're a Chick-fil-A family. We're a big pizza family. Normally we're getting pizza at least once a week. So, we usually wrestle over who likes what place and who wants to go to get pizza at what place. So we're pizza, Chick-fil-A type of people. We kind of keep it simple and keep it basic.
All right, I'm gonna have to get you to try these homemade pizzas I've been making then one time.
Oh, that sounds.
I got a pizza oven for Christmas, so that's what I've been.
My youngest son just did that last week. He made a homemade. They made 2 homemade pizzas last week, and then I got home from practice and there was 1 slice left. So I was like, "Thanks, guys." So
hey, yeah, they were at least thinking slightly of you.
They said we saved you some, and it was 1 slice. So yeah, that sounds pretty good.
All right. Thanks, Coach Thomas. Best of luck on Friday. Appreciate it as always.
Thank you. I appreciate all you guys do.
Take care.
All right, bye. All right, bye.